Hello everybody, Wally here again with a new video. It's been a while since I've done one of these because most of the time I was busy live streaming and I couldn't find the time to do them. So I'm taking a little break from streaming for now to focus on regular videos. But without further ado, let's go! So, the first 8 tracks came out with 3 tracks already from tour, which makes me believe we might get most if not all the city tracks from there. It's easy for Nintendo to save money, as it's easy to port them over. However, in the Nintendo Direct trailer the courses look terrible. No enhanced textures. Most of this stuff seems to be fixed in the finished product. All the road textures have been enhanced and are no longer flat. For the most part, that is. I'll compare all of the current tracks with their latest appearance and point out all the differences and my final thoughts. So let's start with the first track, which is Paris Promenade. One of the most beautiful tracks out of all 8. So right off the bat you can see the road is way more detailed. The stones actually have depth, unlike in Tour. For some reason the Toads, Shy Guys and Yoshis are enormous, but it isn't that big of a deal. As a perfectionist, however, it bothers me quite a bit. You can also see it looks much brighter because of the sunlight like the other tracks. Shadows are also way more detailed, of course. In Tour, the city courses had a similar number naming system to the first Mario Kart. For example, Paris Promenade 1, Paris Promenade 2 and 3. In the remakes, however, they merged all of them together so you can freely choose your own pathway. That's a really cool feature, I like that. I didn't notice it at first, but they removed the Goombas and the pipe under the Eiffel Tower. And what's also pretty cool is that there's a section that seems to work like Luigi's Circuit from the GameCube, where they seem to be driving in both directions, and it can cause a lot of chaos. I've been hit by bullet bills very often. There's also a glider section added in the last lap, and you can do tricks on the parasol. So, moving on, Toad Circuit. This one has always been my least favorite, and there's not really much to say about this track. There's little to no change from Tour. However, I did notice the enhanced road textures compared to the trailer and the first images. But despite that, there isn't any mind-blowing adjustments if you compare the roads to a track in the base game already, for example Mario Circuit. You can clearly see how rushed this was. The grass textures are flat, reminds me of Play-Doh, and have no detail, and it's the same case for the sand. This is by far the weakest remake in my opinion. Next up, Showca Mountain. One of the more iconic tracks. It looks better than Toad Circuit as they didn't straight up went for the Showca texture of Tour and added some depth to it, which makes it look more like dirt. The thing that bothers me is that the boulders are straight up reused from the Bowser's Castle track. They didn't even bother changing the texture or the color to make it more brownish, and that way it would actually blend into the environment of the track better. They added Shy Guys and Paratroopas on top of some rocks, which is a small addition but a really nice one. I feel like the crystals could have been made more realistic too. It's obvious this track has been made longer on than the previous one. Oh boy. Next up, Coconut Mall. I don't know where to start, to be honest. They really fucked up this one. I'll say 2 positive things about this track before I go over all the bad things. I appreciate the new sign textures because they actually used some we haven't seen before, like the Mega Mushroom and the Kamek one. And I appreciate the bricks on the wall in this section, making it look like a Mario level. It's less boring than the Wii version. Now for the negative stuff, they ruined the escalators. They're now flat and they've been replaced by neon arrow conveyor belts, which makes me believe Toad's Factory might be coming back in the future. But that'll be for another video that I'll be doing in a buddy talk with my good old friend Mr. Jum from Team Latinite. Anyway. So the textures of the building itself is way too bright and colorful. I like the color scheme of the Wii version more. The shade of orange should have been toned down a little. Playing on this track multiple times, I got crazy from looking at it. But that comes from someone wearing glasses and has a little bit of OCD. Toads, Yoshis, Piantas and Nokis from Sunshine are cheering you on the sidelines, which is nice, but where are the Miis? They seem to be completely gone. Also, the last section was so appealing back in the Wii days, where you had to dodge the cars being driven by Miis in a horizontal line. Well, guess what? They're gone now too! The cars are still there, they just don't move horizontally anymore, and the Shy Guys are now inside them. So what is the point of bringing the cars back then? They might as well get rid of the two cars altogether and nobody would notice and nobody would give a f***. They got rid of the most iconic part in the original. Despite all that, I still enjoy this more than Toad Circuit. This track is where the most mistakes seem to have been made. Anyway, moving on. Now next up is Tokyo Blur. Also a solid track from Mario Kart Tour. Not much to say about this either. Although like previous tracks there could have been made some improvements, like the rails on the side. And once again straight up taken from Tour without any adjustments. And the road textures on this track seem to have gone downhill again. So that's everything about this track. Next up, Shroom Ridge. Shroom Ridge, my favorite track from Mario Kart DS. And the best remake too, in my opinion. I've always liked the courses with driving cars like Shroom Ridge, Moonview Highway, Mushroom City and Mushroom Bridge. Once again, grass textures are just Play-Doh, flat and boring. On this track somehow it doesn't bother me at all, since there's so much going on. The cars seem to have been reused from Toad's Turnpike, which isn't too surprising and it isn't necessarily a bad thing either. But I feel like they could have improved a little on the grass textures and the bushes that appear, and even the trees. Alright, next up is Cloudtop Cruise 2. Huh? What do you say? This is Sky Garden? Nah, you're messing with me, dude. This goes against every other DLC track then. In this one they added so much new stuff and details that the original one and from the DS are barely unrecognizable. The original had a green rocky road and they changed it to orange and red. The clouds looked more creamy colored back then, and now they're completely white. The Lego brick walls are gone too. And the hopping section is gone and has been replaced by 2 leaves, which, okay, I'm fine with that to be honest. And this here also reminds me of a shortcut we had in Cloudtop Cruise. This track is amazing if you're used to the remake of Mario Kart Tour. I play Tour almost daily, so I'm used to this remake. However, I still would prefer the original for nostalgia reasons. So that was the last track. If I missed something important, whether it's a positive or negative change, let me know in the comments. And let me know also what track you would like to see remade in the next waves. Personally, my top 3 is Wii Moonview Highway, GameCube Rainbow Road and Waluigi Pinball. Lastly, I should mention that none of the DLC tracks so far have no anti-gravity sections. Now with the current 8 tracks, the ones that seem to have more effort put into it are the tour tracks. Just look at Paris Promenade and Ninja Hideaway, the ground and the roof. It's beautiful. I just hope we won't see all of the tour tracks in this game, but there is a great chance of that happening as they only have like a low budget for this DLC. All they need to do is straight up port it from tour and add more depth to the textures. I've also heard that there's only a small team in charge of those waves, which differ from the developers of the main game. I don't know if that's true or not, only time will tell, but for now keep your expectations low. I honestly felt like they should have made a poll to vote for your favorite retro tracks. Thank you all so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed this, dislike it if you didn't, consider subscribing, it's completely free and you will help my channel out big time. But that'll do it for me now. This is Wally and I am out.
Wee-hee!